Pete, what was the difference between the first period and the second and third?
I think the first period, for whatever reason, we were tentative. We had talked about playing with a Game 7 mindset, and I think our intentions were in the right place, but, we looked like we were just, we were waiting. We were waiting for something to happen, and I thought we kind of regrouped at the end of the first and decided to get to our game. And I thought I loved the second and third. I thought we were excellent.
We'll go front right to Taylor.
Hi, Pete. You talk a lot throughout the year about how Jamie Benn is the leader of this team in the locker room. He came out and had that shift early in the second. Him, Logan, Wyatt, lots of cycle time in the ozone. How important was it, or what kind of message did that send to the rest of your group as a kind of tone reset for you?
Yeah, he's led the way, all year, and particularly in the playoffs. I think he's found another level for us. He's been great, and those two kids energize him, and he's been a beast out there every series we've been in, and he's changed the momentum of, each of the series in different ways. A couple huge hits in the Vegas series. I think in the Colorado series, it was a huge goal here or a big play, big block. And then tonight, just getting that line going and getting some ozone time, because we had spent the entire first period, I felt, in our own end. So, that was kind of setting the tone for the other forward lines. Like, this is how we need to play.
Center left, Ryan.
You just Hey, Pete, you just talked about how you liked the second and the third.
Yeah.
What do you think it was specifically about the third where you were able to limit them to not only 5 shots, but they never could really look settled, especially in the final 2 minutes when for a little bit they had a 6-on-4?
Yeah. Well, I think obviously getting the lead, it was critical. I mean, that allows you to stay above them and manage the puck and not try and push outside your comfort zone trying to score. And I think, since I guess it would have been game 1 against Colorado when we blew the 3-0 lead, I think we've been kind of really locked in those situations. We've done a really good job.
Front right, Leah.
Hello.
Hey, Pete. Jake's had a lot of great performances in the playoffs, but what about tonight stuck out to you?
Solid. I mean, if he doesn't play the way he does in the first, we're in a big hole and we might not get out of it. So, he was our best player tonight, and he allowed us to kind of weather the storm in the first, get our legs under us, and find a way to get control of that game.
We'll go to the back left.
Pete, we've talked a lot about big-name veterans kind of embracing lesser roles this year. How gratifying as a coach is it to see Ben, Sagan, Suter? They're the ones that are producing and coming big right now.
Yeah, all those guys. Those guys are leading the way. I mean, we talked post-game. We got huge blocks down the stretch from, Heiskanen, Suter, Pavelski, Tanev, some big block shots at key times. So, those guys are laying it on the line every night for us. They're not just producing, but, they're committed to do whatever they have to do to try and help us win.
We'll stay on the left, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Pete. You talked before the series started about Stanley Cup habits, and when I asked you what those were, you said specifically kind of shutting down games just like this. So, you go a stretch of that third period, 12 minutes without allowing a shot. How much is that game to you just the culmination of a year's worth of hard work by you, your staff, and your team?
For sure. That's the details that you start on in training camp, and you find a way to hold each other accountable all year. And it hasn't been easy. We've had some blips. We blew a big lead in the Colorado series in game 1, and in game 2 we almost blew a 4-0 lead. So, it hasn't been all perfect, but I think we've learned from those situations, and we seem to be really comfortable right now, when we get in those spots.
We'll take a few more. Second row on the right.
Hi, Pete.
You've just touched on how you were able to really shut it down after you guys took the lead for good in the third period. But specifically, they're big guys, the Oilers' big guys, who scored all of the goals in Game 1, got nothing this time.
Yeah.
What did you specifically change to accomplish that?
Yeah. You know what? I just think we played better. I mean, minus the first period. I thought they kind of, we gave them too much room, too much time. Allowed them to dictate play in our end in the first period, and I thought once we changed that, I thought the rest of our game kind of followed, and when we're playing the way we did in the second and third, when we're in the offensive zone, when we're on top of you, when we're closing quickly, when we're managing the puck, there's not a lot of room out there. We're a tough team to play against for good players, and we've done it. We did it to the Colorado big guys for good stretches, and we did it to the Vegas big guys for good stretches. It's easier said than done, but we got to do it again in Game 3 and again in Game 4.
Second row on the right, Mike.
Hey, Pete. We've talked so much about the depth of players. Delandria comes in. Petrovic is on they're both out there for the game-winning goal. What kind of mental strength does it take to just do that, and then when you get your opportunity, jump?
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the importance of our depth, and I have no problem going to a guy like Delhi who hasn't played since, I think, Game 1 of the Colorado series, or Game 2. We've got some other guys close to, Rupe is really close to coming back, so, we've got some tough decisions to make, but I think our group understands and has accepted the fact that, if they're in, they're going to give us everything they have, and if they're not, they're going to be ready, for when they do get called.
We'll take two more. The back left.
Hey, Pete, you guys have been so good on the road in this playoff run. When Jamie was asked what he's expecting in Edmonton, he said craziness.
Yeah.
What are your expectations of what's waiting for you in Game 3 in that atmosphere?
Yeah, for sure. But, is it any crazier than Vegas on the road or Colorado on the road? It's another really tough rink with great fans, with a great team. So, we've got a formula that works for us. We've got to go out there and do it again.
Last question, center right.
Pete, your group seems like one that doesn't get too high or it doesn't get too low. It kind of just weathers and stays level. How do you how would you identify the origin for that sort of resolve and personality of your team? How do you develop that?
I think it's a leadership. I think when you look at the personalities of our leaders, Jamie Benn, Joe Pavelski, Tyler Seguin, ultra competitive people, but in an understated way. They're not riding those emotional waves. They've been around long enough that they get that that's not going to be productive. So that's all leadership in our dressing room.